Alright guys, I'm back. We are ready. All the marbles, every single one of them, 100% of marbles are at stake. And we got a hand. And we're on the play. We certainly have a hand. You just have to hope he like, this is the class. Oh, and he's on the mulligan. Alright, it's not over. It's definitely not over. There are so many good draws from that deck. No champion turn 1. That's good for me. But if he taps out on turn 2, I could be in amazing shape. There is a thought in my mind that said play Gossamer Phantasm, the next turn have Lord of the Unreal with Unsummon open. But I think that pushing the envelope here is the way to go, because 3 Path to Exiles are the only things that I have to worry about right now. Thalia, Guardian of Thraben is not going to be good enough, because I can just copy my Lord of the Unreal, and then I have a Hexproof Lord. And now that means that I can for sure resolve the next one and play the Gossamer Phantasm next turn. I am in glorious shape for this game. I can still lose to like a turn 5 Overseer very easily. Fiend Hunter. Not a big deal. Doesn't really do much of anything. I can always trick him by unsummoning it mid-combat. But, let's see. Yeah, let's play this thing. Oh, actually I could have... he probably wouldn't have blocked. Alright, so we got 2 Lords now. Both 4/4s. This thing's going to be massive and flying. But I've basically thrown everything I've got on the table, so if he's got something here, I could be in bad shape. He was on the mold of 5, he's just drawing lands. Or maybe he kept the land heavy grip. Golden Knight Commander is not the card that I want to be seeing here. I can attack with both of these Lords and feel pretty safe about it, actually. Especially with that Illusionary Servant draw. Just because I have this unsummoned, so I can basically just like kill anything that blocks. Like even if he throw, I don't know, there's nothing that he has that he wants to lose. Yeah, he really needed to draw like a Gather the Townsfolk this game. And if he just takes it, then he's dead to my flyers next turn. Plus I have an unsummoned for his Golden Knight Commander. Alright, so he's just going to chump block. No. Ooh, that is so good for me. See, this play is just going to be incredible and mind-blowing. I'm going to unsummon the Fiend Hunter, and then my other Lord of the Unreal is going to come back, and I'm going to have a 5/5. Pump these guys, kill his team. Oh no, I should not have played that. If he has Hallowed Burial, I am just completely screwed. Completely screwed. Oh my god, I can't believe I did that. I could have just saved the freaking Illusionary Servant for afterwards. There's no reason to play that. Oh my god. If he plays Land Hallowed Burial, I'm gonna just start weeping. Sobbing. Crying. I will just be the saddest person. Then he... Well, okay. I don't know. So apparently he has Hallowed Burial in hand, but he didn't draw the land for it. Like, keeping Illusionary Servant is a little better, but he still has that Fiend Hunter in hand. But wow, that was a game. I had a nut draw, and he still almost won because he almost drew that land for the Hallowed Burial. All right, moving on to the next round of the tournament. Oh, so close. Sorry, GG's. Wow. Okay, so we won. We won in 5 games. Awesome. Happy days for Izdaisho. Blah blah blah. I should have stuck with my strat of aggressive moles. Interesting. So he was planning on like trying to mold the champion of the parish or something like that. But thankfully we managed to win. These Absence Glory games are always close. Even that last one, my heart was beating because I made that huge mistake towards the end. Even just like unsummoning the Fiend Hunter, if I had thought about it, like I should have just stopped to think about what could actually beat me. Since I was so far ahead in that game, the only thing that he can do to like beat me is play a Hallowed Burial. So I would want to leave the Fiend Hunter around, so if he does play Hallowed Burial, I immediately get my Lord of the Unreal back. So instead of doing that, I could have just unsummoned his his Thalia, and then his Gold Knight Commander would have died in combat. He still would have taken 4, gone down to 8. I could have played the Illusionary Servant. And then even if he did have land Hallowed Burial, then I still would have had a Lord of the Unreal at least, and he wouldn't have had the Fiend Hunter. So I definitely misplayed in terms of trying to beat Hallowed Burial, which was a huge misplay since that's basically the only card that can destroy me at that point. But at the same time, I was fortunate enough to pull out with the victory. That sounds weird. Pull the victory out of my hat. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this series. And moving on to round 5. Have a nice day, guys. Bye. Hey guys, I am Izdaisho, and I'm here to just provide you with some spoiler padding so that you guys don't just know immediately that I won the last game. But first of all, hooray, I won the last game. And second of all, let's talk about Slivers, because it's ridiculous how well they're doing in Wings' tournament. So there was about 7 people, I think, maybe 6, who entered with Slivers. I think it was 7 because... Yeah, I think it was 7 who entered with Slivers, and 3 of them actually made it to the top 16, which is just actually absurd considering just the percentage-wise. I mean, with 7 of them out of 128 in the tournament, there's no way that they should have done that well. I mean, I think Avacyn's Glory has about that many, but on the same note, I think it's pretty funny that the top 16 is completely comprised of 4 different decks, which is basically what most people consider to be the top 3 decks in the game, and I think I'm pretty much on board with that. Avacyn's Glory, Deadwalkers, and Mind Maze, and then Slivers, and those are the only decks that actually made it this far, which is pretty... I guess it's not really that shocking, because I mean, when you're playing one of the other decks, you might be able to win against one of those top decks most of the or some of the time. But when you have to win to get to the top 16, you have to win 3 rounds, and that's just really hard. First of all, I mean, you could just not face any of them and get lucky, but chances are that you're going to face one of the top decks because they probably were about half the field, if not more, were one of the 3 main decks. And then I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting. I wonder how I would have done if I had gone with something like Slivers. I was actually considering going to it, and I mean, now that I think about it, my road wouldn't have been that much more difficult. I think I actually might have lost in the first round to Chant, because Slivers has a worse matchup against Chant than it does against any of the other decks, I think. But yeah, I mean, I would have played against Avacyn's Glory, and that could have been a tough one, but Slivers are pretty decent against Avacyn's Glory when you think about it. I mean, they've got a whole bunch of removal. They have Fiery Justice to like 2 or 3 for 1. The Avacyn's Glory deck, and then they have Thorncaster Slivers, which can just completely destroy that deck. But I mean, the late game of an Angelic Overseer can still stop them, and some key removal spells could really hurt if you make an attack that's really bad if you lose your Predatory Sliver mid-combat or something like that. I mean, you can play around that to some extent, but at the same time, it's really hard to win those kind of games. And then Deadwalkers, I think that Slivers are pretty big underdogs in the Deadwalkers matchup. I mean, the removal spells are okay, especially since they have a couple of paths, but on the same note, they have to deal with the aggression, and then the key removal spells that can take out the important Slivers could be a really big deal for that deck. And yeah, I mean, just Geralf's Messengers, if you don't have a Path to Exile, are so hard to answer. Well, then again, you could just have First Strike, and then, I mean, still it's a Lava Axe, basically. It does 4 damage to you. But, yeah, I think that's the hardest matchup, and I'm surprised that the Slivers were able to do so well given the amount of Deadwalkers. I think it's second most represented behind Avacyn's Glory. And then I would have played against another Avacyn's Glory. So, I mean, you know, it could have been done, but it definitely would have been a hard road. I mean, it was a hard road to get here this way. I really only had 1 round, which was easy to win. I mean, this past one was ridiculous. It was 5 games, and it could have gone either way so easily. But I managed to get really lucky. or not really lucky, but I managed to have some luck fall into my lap, and yeah, and then I guess I don't know. So I think that I mean, I'm pretty happy with my decision to play Mind Maze, even if I lose in the next round. I still made it to the top 8 of this 128 player tournament, and I won 4 rounds of Magic, which is pretty hard. But it's actually kind of funny when you think about it, because even though I've gotten past another 120 players, I still have to win 3 more rounds. I've only won 4 so far, and I have to win 3 more if I want to win the whole thing. But I don't know. I think I'm pretty happy with how I've done. I think I definitely redeemed myself from my poor showing in last year's tournament, and hopefully I can take it a little bit further, just 1 round at a time though, 1 round at a time. So that was my little spoiler padding. I'm not sure how long it was, but hopefully it's long enough to convince you guys that I lost my last round, even though I didn't. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty obvious game when you're watching it that I was going to win unless my opponent was just gonna like 5-for-1 me and cast that Hallowed Burial. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You should all have a wonderful day, a wonderful, wonderful day.